So let's talk money, yeah? Let's talk money. You know, what I find fascinating is that I am sure, look at you all with your little things in front of you, right? All you little tech heads out there that are changing the world. You're spending all your time doing whatever you can to make this company be the greatest company in the world, which it is. You've done a very good job in doing that. But what have you done for yourselves? What have you done for yourselves with the money that you are making? If I were to ask you how many of you have credit card debt, in fact, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should ask you all to stand. If you have credit card debt, car loan debt, student loan debt, mortgage debt, stand. If you do, stand. Let's see. So here's the problem. I came to talk to you about money, but I can't talk to you about money because you don't have any. So let's start from the beginning and why maybe you should listen to me rather than anybody else and what we can do about your financial situation. Now, as I look out there, it occurs to me that a lot of you may be wondering, why should we be listening to Susie? She's up there, she's seriously rich, what does she know? And by the way, I'm so glad I am. So glad I am. It's like, what does she know about my situation? Well, just because I happen to be in California, I just briefly want to tell you where I got my start. It was here in California, Berkeley, California, on the corner of College and Alcatraz in a little restaurant called the Buttercup Bakery. After spending 4 years at the University of Illinois, in 1973, I came out to Berkeley, California, where I lived in my van on the streets on Hearst Avenue there, because I did not have the money back in 1973 to be able to afford a first and last month deposit on an apartment, and rent was only $200 a month back then. So I was living in my van on the streets for 3 months until I landed my dream job at the Buttercup Bakery, right, for $400 a month. Now, I wasn't just a waitress for $400 a month from 1973 to 1974. Oh, no. I was a waitress making $400 a month from 1973 to 1974. To 1975, to 1976, to 1977, 78, 79, 80, when now I'm essentially 29 years of age. All right, are you doing the math? Are you trying to figure out how old I am right now? I'm about to be 59. I look good, don't I? So anyway, here I am, all those years being a waitress, and I get this idea that I can open up my own restaurant and all I need is $20,000 to do so. So I call up my mother, I ask for $20,000, and she says, Susie, honey, that's more money than we have to our name. We can't give you that kind of money. I go into work the next day, a man by the name of Fred Hasbrook comes in, he said, what's wrong, sunshine? I tell him the story, how I want to open up my own restaurant. Before I know it, I leave there with $50,000 in checks and commitments that all the customers had gathered together and gave me because Fred went throughout the restaurant that day and told them how I was upset because I didn't have enough money to open up my own restaurant, and they backed me. Now I didn't know what to do with that money, and so I'm told to take it down to Merrill Lynch in Oakland and open up an account till I can be helped to open up my own restaurant. I go into the account at Merrill Lynch, and again, to make a very long story short, all $50,000 was lost within 3 months. And it was lost because I had a crooked financial advisor. And I was just listening to what this financial advisor was telling me. Now, I didn't know what to do. So now I thought, I know, I can be a broker, they just make you broker. So I went and I got a job at Merrill Lynch. They hired me simply to fill their women's quota. I walked in with pinstripe pants, red and white, tucked into my white cowboy boots with a blue silk shirt. I thought that would be a good dress because that was my fanciest outfit I had. And they looked at me, and they had never hired a woman before. This was 1980. And the manager said, you know, Susie, I'm going to hire you. I'm going to hire you, but I'm here to tell you, you will be out of here in 6 months because I personally believe women belong barefoot and pregnant. His name was Peter Sansevero. Anyway, so I'm hired there, and as I'm working for Merrill Lynch, I'm reading the code, studying to be a financial advisor, that what my broker did was illegal. He couldn't invest my money in such a way that I could lose it when that money was there to be safe and sound so I can open up my restaurant. So I went in to tell Peter that he had a crook that worked for him, and Peter said to me, Susie, that crook makes us a lot of money. You go down and you sit in your chair and don't you say anything. I went and I sat down in my little cubicle on my little chair, and I thought to myself, well, Peter told me that I would be out of here in 6 months, and this was 4 months into it. He told me that I didn't belong here. Now I could sit there and I could do nothing. But what happened with Randy, who was the financial advisor, and what he did to me wasn't right. Now I was young and I had time to make back that money to pay everybody back. But what if it were your parents or your grandparents or somebody who didn't have the time to make it back? It wasn't right. So right then and there, I decided to do what was right versus what was easy, and I sued Merrill Lynch while I was working for them. Now, what was great about that is because I sued them, they couldn't fire me. They couldn't fire me. And 2 years later, I was their number 6 producing broker. They had fired Randy. They gave me back all of my money plus 18% interest because that is what money markets were paying back then. And here we are, everybody. The story begins.